times don't last, but bad guys do.
Hello, I'm Casey Wilson, owner of Roseville Strength and Conditioning in beautiful Roseville, California. And this is...
I am Brad Erie, and I'm still alive.
It's amazing. I haven't killed you yet.
Absolutely.
Start off the podcast with a little Razor Ramon and his tribute speech, his Hall of Fame speech, and finished off with it. And it was always I loved the way he ended it. And so we were talking about it right before. And then I go, we're going to start the podcast off with that.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're not a WWE fan and you don't know who Razor Ramon is,
then you're a punk loser.
He was a bad guy for most of his career. But he was a really good heel. All right. So today we're going to talk just a little fitness, and then we're going to talk about Andor. So mostly Andor.
Andor Day.
So we're talking a little fitness. So it is summertime. Almost. It's in the 90s this week. It's supposed to drop down to upper 80s.
If you can't tell by my tan, then what are we even doing here?
I don't even have a tan yet, and I'm tanner than you.
What's sad is I got tan lines. I get even paler. Up there.
Do like a bicep
comparison?
Oh, okay.
No, I still need to work on my curls for the girls.
So a lot of people I'm starting to get a lot of inquiries. I had a few people start recently. They're wanting to lose 10, 15 pounds for the summer and to tighten up. They put their swimsuit on from last year and it didn't look nearly as good as last year. So if you have a few extra pounds, I want to give you a few tips. Probably starting right now, if you're wearing a bathing suit next week, probably isn't the best option. But if you don't really plan on starting it for another month or two, number one, you're going to lose weight by restricting your calories, meaning eating a well-balanced, healthy meal. I'm a big fan of metabolic paleo style diet, where you're eating about every 3 hours throughout the day. There's also intermittent fasting. There's all kinds of ways to do it. But the point is you got to burn a lot more calories every day than you're taking in. Usually I'm a fan of 1,000 calorie deficit a day will lead to about 2 pounds of fat loss a week. And that's a good steady pace. So a month from now, you'd be 8 pounds of fat down if you did that. And you were also working out aggressively, meaning 4 to 5 hours a week, at least, of workout time is going to get you to where you need to go in your goals. You want to be burning calories, but you also want to be lifting weights. You go and you burn a bunch of calories, you eat a restricted diet, and all you do is walk on a treadmill for 5 hours a week. You're going to look saggy. You're not going to look full. You want to do weight training stuff. If you need any specific help, obviously, if you're in the Roseville, Sacramento area, you're welcome to come see me. I also do online training, but also if you're looking for in-person training and you live in Timbuktu, there's a trainer in Timbuktu. Just
won't be as good,
but just look for him, So get some help with it. Because if you have somebody who's holding you accountable and is pushing you to do what you need to do and checking in on you on a regular basis, you're going to achieve your goals better. All right. So let's get into Andor.
The show that brought you back for a brief moment.
Temporarily.
But brought you back.
They can make one announcement that they signed Kathleen Kennedy to another 3-year contract. And I won't even watch Mandalorian and Grogu.
Oh, but Andor was tempting enough.
It would. I really liked the first season, and although not very Star Warsy, I think the second season was a lot. You got a lot more into the ISB and the Senate and all the political intrigue and how they were building the rebellion, and I really liked it. It was good Star Wars. It started off with stealing a TIE interceptor, which is the first time we've seen a TIE interceptor, and we also got to see the TIE interceptor in what?
You told me, but I don't remember. I'm old.
Rogue One?
Oh, yeah.
So it really was not the first time we'd seen it, but I totally forgot about the TIE interceptor was in Rogue One until we went back and rewatched it. But they stole the TIE interceptor, which was in the books, actually in Rebels, too.
Yeah.
If you read the Thrawn trilogy, that was his pet project. That's what he thought would lead to the Empire being a total military dominant control, not some big space station that blows planets up, because he didn't feel that was a great tactical advantage. As we found out, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was blown up twice. So But the TIE Interceptors were these badass. They had their own shields.
Yes.
There were fighter jets had their own shields, warp drives like the X-Wing, but it had shielding. And it didn't have the fucking box wings on it. It had a dagger
cool
wings,
looking.
much more maneuverable, much more agile, would defeat one-on-one against X-Wing, would defeat it. Unless Luke was flying the X-Wing, then Luke would probably win. But it gave a huge advantage to the TIE fighter pilots, the TIE Interceptors.
But that was a cool little Easter egg that they threw in
But
there.
they took the money from the TIE Interceptors from Thrawn's program and funneled it all into the Death Star because it cost so much money. And what was cool about Andor is you got to see some of that process, right? So that was you never saw the Emperor. Great, I don't want to see him anymore. They dragged him back in that piece of shit sequel trilogy. But at that time, all the stuff going on, it was great to kind of see them put that part of the story into it. So you got them some more of the background of what's happening.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. That's just kind of a brief overview of I enjoyed it, but Brad and I have differing opinions. I love storytelling and I like building stories, but there was a lot of wasted characters and wasted space in Andor. So a lot of people are slobbering all over it because it's the first halfway decent, Star Wars show. I was joking with Brad. I was like, well, if we're giving 5 kettlebells for a show, I would give 3.5 to Andor. So I consider it a good show.
Yeah.
But if you take Acolyte and Andor together, out of 10 kettlebells, it would get 3.5 because that's all because it was 0 for Acolyte. It was horrible piece of shit. I didn't watch the Skeleton Crew out of my objections to Disney Star Wars and what they're doing, although I heard good things about Skeleton Crew too. So I guess I'd probably give it a 2.5 or 3, But I think that there was the first 6 episodes, you could have cut them to 3. In the last 6 episodes, you could have cut it to maybe 4. So maybe 7. I'll give you maybe 7. I would have gone 8. You could have done it all in 7 episodes and it would have been much better quality. Just like I was comparing it with Brad was like, I don't know if I can find next podcast will be us doing our 20 favorite comedy movies of all time. And Brad's like, we need 30 or we need more. I don't know. I can't do it. And I'm like, no, it's about quality, not about quantity. It's about quality, meaning we have to take all those good movies and funnel down into the 20 best. Well, if you take that 12 episodes of Andor and you funnel it down into the best stuff in the show, you could fit it in 7 episodes. There was so much backstory. The guy I don't understand why we got so much of was Cyril. You could have got that guy. Yeah. He should have never been in the first. I didn't like him in the first season, and I sure the hell didn't like him. And his character, how do you finish him off? He just gets shot in the head by some resistance guy. There's no payoff in the end, except that he got to see his vaunted empire was a piece of shit and treated him like this piece of shit. So he finally got to see it, and I get what they're doing with it. Yeah. What a waste. There's so much wasted energy. They could have put it into other stuff. Like the episode where they're all on the wedding episode. Yeah. A lot of it there was a couple good banger parts in it. Like how Luthen and Mon Mothma's conversation. That was great. Yeah. But so much of that was just wasted bullshit. I mean, unneeded. The biggest thing that came out of the episode is everybody wants to make that into a techno track and get. I was reading. Well,
that episode could have been.
It was a waste.
Cut down, but it was really that was story of Mon Mothma understanding the price of the rebellion, and her actually breaking down because before then her hands were pretty clean. Like she never got to the nitty gritty part of having people killed. And that was the first time where she knows that she had to kill one of her people in her circle.
No, that's just the first that she knew that Luthen was going to take care of the dirty business.
That's like it's part of her knowing that it's going to happen, and she is part of the reason for it. Now they made that into like 45 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, you could have had it like 20 minutes of like her, but like, okay, now it's hitting me. Her dancing at the end, what I thought was pretty haunting. Like that was pretty. Like you could tell she's just almost emotionally broke on this dance where she was just like giving in.
Because Luthen's going to kill a backstabbing,
that's half of
blackmailing piece of shit. oh, just because I knew him for a long time, fuck you. Guess what? You try to blackmail
But
me and fuck me, I'll be like, kill fucking Brad.
Yeah, but that's only half of it. The other
I'd just
half
kill you myself.
was-
But I would, if you got killed by somebody else.
Yeah, if you killed me, you would have a good night's sleep.
If I just mentioned something to Matt,
Yeah.
Matt just goes, well, you know, took care of business. Our empire that we're building was going to get sabotaged by Brad. He's gone.
Yeah, that's half of what broke her. The other half was that, you know, marrying her daughter into that corrupt family to make sure she had funding for her rebellion was like the other piece of her thing. So she sold her daughter to cover the money to hide her rebellion funding, and then she had somebody she knew had to get killed, and it had to be like right then and there when she didn't want it.
Here's my biggest problem with the senators. They're senators. They're
Yeah.
politicians at heart. You
Yeah.
know what happens in a rebellion? You need some freaking money, number one, because
Yeah.
the other guys have all the fucking money.
Yep.
And they're ruthless. And so if you want to play Jedi, or if you want to play,
Yeah.
I'm going to be a good senator and try to do this the right way,
Yeah.
and you don't have people like Luthen that are willing to do the dirty work, but you're like critical of Luthen because he's doing the dirty work.
I was Team Lutheran.
I'm a team, like, that's the guy who got the rebellion. Now, people like to bring up Saw Gerrera. He was the dark side of the rebellion. No, he wasn't. I'm not a fan of Saw Gerrera character.
I thought
Saw Gerrera, I'm
crazy.
like, he's crazy and he's an extremist. He just wants to destroy for the sake of destroying. When he blows something up, he's happy to blow it up. I don't find him to be a redeeming character in any way, you know, just a guy who lost his way and who was more a part of the dark side than the light side. But guess what? If you're in a war, how many people do the Jedi kill in war?
Yeah.
When they get in the Clone Wars. I mean, you have to break things to fix them.
That's true. And I think that he was the show's version of like trying to separate a rebellion built on, you know, principles and ideals versus him, which is more of like a terrorist. And like there's two different types. Like
I don't like
he
it.
would have killed 10 innocent families if
But I
was
also
going to
don't-
take out 5,000 stormtroopers.
I don't like their attitude towards Saw Gerrera either.
Yeah.
Yes, we want to distance ourselves from him, but I'm not going to be like, oh, you're not a part of this, because he was a part of it. You're going to try to bring him in line, because if he has troops and the ability to fight back, you don't want to get rid of your resources. You can, even if they're a little wacky.
Yeah, they tried.
You want to try to work with. They didn't. They tried to impose their ideas on him. What you have to do is you have to massage a guy like Saw Gerrera.
Yeah,
they didn't massage him. They were trying to get him to do what they wanted to do, and they had a hard line, like, you can't do this, you can't do that. You have to massage that and get him to do. He's going to do some dirty work, right? He's going to do some bad stuff, but in the course, it's going to help you do more good. This is how you have to build these type of.
That's true.
It's why in our government right now we have two sides that hate each other. Well, we have one side that really hates the other side, and then we have the other side which thinks the other side is stupid and ignorant. And so when you look at those things, we need two sides working together. Yeah, we disagree on certain things, but we're not doing it just for the sake of, I hate Orange Man, or I hate liberal retard who wears a rag on her head. You have to like try to work together. I mean, you come to some consensus. I was watching a video with John Fetterman talking with Christy Noman, the head of Homeland Security. It was like politics from the 80s. It was like a Democrat talking good about a Republican, what they're doing, and saying, my party fucked up and let all these people come across the border. Now we got to work with this side to fix it. So he was honest. And then you can work from a point of honesty. So you take a guy like Saw Gerrera, and you got to slowly manipulate him to become part and give him some of the stuff that
they're
he
not going
wants.
to. If this was a real life and not just a TV show, they don't have that time. You're already talking about cutting.
Yeah, they do. All right,
40% of the show.
All right, so
and Saul would never do that.
They would never fund him. They would never help him do. They would never assist him in anything he wants. So what you do is you help him a little bit. You go, you want to do this? We see some merit in it, so let's help you do it. They were always letting him. He was just out on his own. They were hardly giving him any help or funding or support. Very little.
Who's the guy that came?
Did you read the books?
No, but what I did know is
I just go and buy Rogue One and a little bit of Clone Wars.
So if you read the articles by the guy who wrote the show, the showrunner, what's his name, Tony Gilroy,
which I'm not a huge fan. He put on a great show, but he's not a good Star Wars guy, in my opinion.
They did the rebellion did try to help him. They sent him Andor's friend, or whatever, that young guy with the curly hair, to help do like the strange fuel mix that he was breathing all the time.
Yeah,
and they did it completely to help. And what did he do? He shot the other guy and kept him, and then never gave him back. They were always trying to help him, but he was such a radical. That was their way of saying.
By that point, he was at the edge. Like, we're talking days away from Rogue One.
I'm just telling you,
being killed on Jeddah. So I'm talking about the stuff that happened before that got him to the point to not trust these piece of crap senators.
I'm only showing you what's gone.
I can tell you, I wouldn't trust those senators either, because they would sell if it was their ass or your ass. Like, if you watch the show, Luthen sacrificed himself for the rebellion.
I'm sure his whole body was nothing by the time he died.
If any of those senators and those like squabbling little bitches that are around the table, if any of them had to sacrifice themselves for the greater good of the rebellion, I don't know if all of them are doing it. I think Mon Mothma, Bail, Orenga, whatever you want to say.
Whatever his name is.
I've always never Leah Orenga Solo or whatever. But I think that he and Mon Mothma sacrificed a lot for the rebellion, but they still tried to play both sides till the very bitter end.
Well, yeah, they had to.
I get that they had to, but what I'm saying is Luthen was willing to sacrifice his life.
No, Lutheran.
Not Lutheran, Luthen.
Yeah.
Lutheran is a religion.
Whatever. Luther.
Lutheran.
But the point of the show, the whole point of Andor, the show, is
Lex
the
Luthor?
price you had to pay.
Is that Lex Luthor?
Could be. This the price you have to pay to have a working rebellion. That's what the whole show is about. Everybody in this show lost everything. There was no innocence. Everybody paid a horrible price, and they tried to show a difference between a rebellion and terrorists. They tried to show like Andor, who had a conscience until he lost it. Lutheran, who was like the diehard who started it. Luther.
You're gonna think we're talking about religion. They're gonna tune in like, oh, I wonder what's on this. Look, Lutheran. Oh, I'm out of here.
Say it one more time.
Luthen. 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 There's no R.
Who was my favorite character?
He was best.
In the end of season 1, he gave the greatest speech about rebellions, about how he's willing to sacrifice everything for a sunrise he'll never see.
Yes.
And he fulfilled his fate. And you saw how he did it.
He had some of the best. He had some of the best dialogue,
best lines
every time, and he's such a great actor.
Oh my god, I love him.
But I mean, all the best moments, were usually Luthen with somebody else.
Yeah,
like whether it was Andor, whether it was
his assistant.
What was her assistant's name in the show?
So I had it on my phone. I was trying to.
God damn it! But she was awesome too. I liked her. I liked her a lot too. I liked how they built the backstory.
Yeah.
Was it episode 10? No, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 10. It was episode 10, right? Where they built the Luthen backstory. So,
which I thought was a fantastic episode.
Great episode, because now you have a context of where Luthen and she came from, and then you see what happens. It was great. I would have liked to get rid of some of the early episodes and get more into the political intrigue on Coruscant right up bleeding.
Yeah.
To it with, the Emperor and his minions trying to sabotage, the ISB trying to stop people from talking, that type of stuff, the ISB being so finally you get the Empire looking like a well-oiled, organized scary machine run by the Emperor, and you don't see like Darth Vader stuff, but you see people that are out there doing their job and catching people, killing people. They're on top of stuff. But you also see their holes, their arrogance, their cockiness, their feeling that the other side is weak and can't do things, and they get caught off guard. Which leads me to one of the stupidest things that I found was when Mira, is that how she is that?
I think so.
I think it's Mira. That's it. I'm not into it enough to watch it a second time, so then I can't memorize all the names. If I like something a lot, I'll watch it twice.
Yeah,
that's why I'm able to pull so many names, but I'm still fresh with this one. That's why I'm probably able to still get it. So Mira, the whole 2 seasons, she's trying to find Axis, right?
Yeah.
She finally finds him, and then she goes by herself, not by herself, but she had like stormtroopers there, but she
Yeah.
goes to confront him herself.
Yeah.
Now, do you think maybe the guy you've been trying to track down, who's been elusive, who's been right underneath your nose, might be pretty smart? Might be smarter than you?
No, she's too.
This is the problem. It's the arrogance and cockiness
arrogant, yep.
of the Empire. But she's a smart woman. Why doesn't she go, I'm not going to go in and chit chat with this guy. I'm going to bring the whole power, the whole storm down on him where he can't destroy stuff. He doesn't have time to react. No, she goes in there and wants to gloat to his face that after all these years, I found you.
Yep. That I beat you.
And I beat you. And then Luthen does what? Knife to the old heart. It's just crazy. Like, that was the stupidest thing. It didn't make any sense for an intelligent woman except for the hubris of the Empire and the hubris. I get that that's what route they were going.
Yeah.
But they're so efficient in so many ways. Why would she be so stupid?
Because she sacrificed everything. She paid the ultimate price too. She paid the love of her life.
I don't know if it's like you can say it's the love of her life.
Whatever.
I mean,
her husband.
She is a psychopathic, disturbed person herself.
Did it.
And then Cyril was an irredeemable piece of crap.
Yes, and they all have the greatest fates.
Yes,
so
I'm happy with the fates. I'm just like not super happy with those characters getting so much time.
Sacrificed everything because she thought she was the only one who could do that job. She did not. The other ISB guy that replaced her when she had to go, gut the planet of Gore. That was his job, was to find Luthen, and then she's like, "No, I'm going to find it. I'm the only one he
was after Andor. Yes. He was after Andor. She was after Axis. She didn't know who
came in and was like, "Nope, I gonna do this. I caught it. I sacrificed everything for this moment, and I'm gonna go in." And you're right. It was her arrogance. She was so arrogant in these 2 seasons that it was nice to see her finally make a mistake. She was almost like perfect decision making all the way up until she had that thing.
I somehow wonder if maybe Tony Gilroy and the actor that plays Cyril and Mira or have a throuplet where they're all in a relationship together, and that's why I gave them so much time in the show. They're all sex buddies. Because I can't figure out why they get. I'm just joking. I'm not. But I can't figure out why he gave so much time to Mira and Cyril. There could have been other people in paths that were more redeemable or more hated. Like Mira is just a dumbass. I mean, she proved to be a dumbass in the end.
Well, no. She made a dumbass decision.
All right,
but she was brilliant.
A dumbass, and then you saw her break, and now she's a whiny little bitch trying to whine about, you guys don't get the fuck out of here. You're weak. I just wanted her to cut her head off. You know what? Who's a badass? Fucking Krennic.
Yeah,
Krennic is a badass. He even stood in the face of Darth Vader and kind of talked some shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Until he got choked down to the ground. But Krennic is like the dude that should have been Tarkin should have been like. I've never been a huge fan of Tarkin, except I read this book, and that's pretty good. He was a devious son of a bitch, but Krennic was a devious son of a bitch, and he was like a badass.
Yeah.
Like Mira's in a bad. Why didn't we get more Krennic?
Because
I want more Krennic. I want less Mira and Cyril and more Krennic.
See, you
I want more Cassian and Bix. I want KSO holding meat shields up. You
look at her thing as her being a dumbass. I see a woman who broke herself and finally got what was coming. I loved what they did with her. Because who was Carrick's main person when he wanted Gore to be gut? Let me ask
you this. You're in a big, let's say the CIA or the FBI or a local law enforcement, and you just broke the big. You have your warrant in hand.
Yeah,
you're ready to go get the person, right? You discovered it. All this work you did, all the legwork, the hours of doing paperwork, research, and you catch the person that you want to get, right?
You're not going extreme enough, but I see where you're going.
Go ahead. This is the person. Okay,
no,
not extreme enough. Here, then okay. What's more extreme than you take a SWAT team in and take them down, or a whole group of people? Not, I'm going to go in and have chit chat with this person in their business.
Now, here's how you got to say it.
This is a devious mastermind who's eluded you for years, and now you've got all the goods. and you're not going to go do a takedown. You can gloat when he's in prison cell, giving the information or being tortured.
Here's how
you're
you
making the
said
mistake of saying there's procedures you go through. The reason why she was sitting in a cell is because she fucked up. She did a good job of finding him and then fucked up the takedown.
Yeah. So here's how you should have said it. Let's imagine you're a CIA. You've been working on this. You are the fastest rising CIA operative. All right. You're right out of high school. You get, the head of the CIA. Let me finish.
If you want to work for the CIA, you better have a degree.
And they said
a heavy
you are
military
so
history
naturally talented that we need you on this team. And you're an alpha. You go in there and you make all your colleagues look bad. You make your CIS, the guy right above you,
she
look
made
bad.
herself look bad on more than one occasion.
Doesn't
wasn't
matter.
the first time she'd done something stupid.
The head of Department of Justice says, we're going to gut this Colombian country. I'm going to invite all of these senior people from all the different aspects of the government. We're going to have military. We're going to have Department of Justice, Homeland. Oh, and we're going to have the CIA operative. You are so gung-ho. You sacrifice husband. I would have sacrificed Anya. Like, Anya, I need you to go to Colombia. Don't worry. I'm not going to tell you. It's just a little bump. You're going to get paid. We're going to do great. I'm not going to tell her that she's a sacrificial pawn so we can kill all of these people. No, I'm so focused on my objectives that I'm going to do this. I'm going to sacrifice my relationship with my wife. I send her there. And only thing that's ever not gone my way is this thing.
That's wrong. If you watch season 1, you'll see lots of things that go wrong. She's a dumb. She makes bad decisions because of her arrogance and hubris. But here's the thing. What you're trying to do is say, oh, though that CIA agent's going to make a bad decision. Because guess what? They have protocols when you take somebody down.
It doesn't matter. I'm not saying you're making a bad decision.
You're making a decision that's going against your job and what you're supposed to be doing. And then you're going to go in and you have the hubris to think that you're going to go in and face this guy who you've been chasing forever. And that you're just going to go, oh, I'm going to have a little witty conversation with you. And then I'm going to call my guys in. No, you call your guys in, you storm the whole place. You don't give them a chance to push a button to blow the whole place up.
That's the whole point.
You don't give any chance. The whole point is she's an idiot. And I don't want to watch an idiot over and over again. She's a purebred idiot because she didn't follow procedure of her job, which she's supposed to be good at.
She is a microcosm of the empire.
I get what you're saying,
but
it's stupid. It's stupid writing to have somebody who is so good at her job and so hardcore, and that when she goes to the point of taking somebody out of all this work, she screws it all up and gets thrown in jail because she didn't follow procedure. She didn't go and take them down.
But see, she started making bad decisions like 3 episodes before that. You could start to see her
the first season
when she was like working behind the guy's back. It's like, oh, I had a day off. Oh, that's when
did
we're
she
going to
fall
move.
in love or whatever form of love in the first season with Cyril?
I think towards the very end.
The very end. There's her first mistake.
That was
She's
her
a
first
dumbass.
mistake. Yeah.
Cyril's a freaking
but the
weirdo goof.
For those who watched it, her relationship with Cyril's mom, greatest dinner scene in the history of television. I thought it was funny.
I do like that scene.
But the whole point, and you're like, the whole thing was like, how did she go from this really smart procedure following girl or woman to this dumb ass Rambo, I'm going to do it all by myself at the end? Why? Her hubris. She thought there's no way this art dealer was going to do this. The whole point that you're this outraged was the point of her making this decision. Of course you wouldn't do it. It's stupid. Why would someone who was in place and blowing up the Gore planet and was set to do all of this stuff make such a dumb decision? Why was she so driven? It's because
she's dumb. She made a dumb decision, and that makes her dumb. When you do dumb things, everybody goes, what a dummy.
Look, man, the fact that you're this mad is the whole point of the thing.
I'm saying, I'm not even mad. I'm just saying, look at how much time he spent on these two characters in season 1 and 2, and they were not good characters. I did not like them. There was very few scenes that I liked.
I did not like Cyril. I'll give you that.
I hate Cyril, and I don't like Mira because I'm not a huge. I don't.
I like Mira and her strange, evil smirk.
I don't see why he spent so much time, wasted time. This is where almost all the episodes could have been. But I say you should have done it 7, or you make a bunch of other good storylines and good characters and expand it up to 12. But there is 6 or 7 episodes if you cut Cyril and Mira out of it with all their stupidity.
I don't
You
know.
replace
You
them
can't
with
cut
better
Mira.
better characters. That's
She
my biggest complaint is I liked a lot of stuff, especially the last 6 episodes. The first 6, there's
slow.
a lot of wasted energy.
We didn't need that whole episode with the Yavin Forest.
Okay, what do we need Bix having a drug issue for either?
No, we didn't
need that.
We didn't need a sexual assault on Bix. We didn't need the two
There was just a bunch of stuff which I just don't understand.
Yavin.
This is why when people are saying Tony Gilroy's Gilbert are brilliant and he's great and blah, I'm like, it was 3.5 stars out of 5. I give him that.
I gave 4
overall. But if you were to ask me after the first 6, 2, which is not good.
Yeah.
And those last 6 brought it up kettlebell and a
Those
half.
last 3 were so good.
The last 6 were good. I liked after the first 6, I was like going, I don't know. I hope it really gets a lot better.
Yeah.
And then it did. The next 3 episodes were good and they re-engaged me. And then after I got done with that 9th one, I was like, all right, I think this is going to get good.
Yeah.
And it didn't get as good as I had hoped, but it got good, And so I enjoy it. I would say, besides The Mandalorian season 1 and 2 and Star Wars Rebels, I would say it's probably the best Star Wars thing that Disney Star Wars has made.
Yeah, I would agree with that order.
Star Wars Rebels was a great animated series. The Thrawn stuff was awesome. Mandalorian season 1 and 2, loved it. I mean, Luke Skywalker. The best thing that Disney Star Wars has done is the Luke Skywalker scene.
I still watch that just randomly.
I was just thinking the other day, I need to go back and watch Mandalorian
The Black
season 1 and 2.
Were awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it was, and I didn't dislike Ahsoka. It wasn't my favorite. Season 3 of Mandalorian, not a fan.
No.
I mean, we've talked
Well,
about
it wasn't
that.
even about Mando anymore. It wasn't about what's his name?
Grogu.
Yeah, it wasn't about Grogu and Jin or whatever. It was about the
Lizzo and Jack Black.
That was the death knell. That was as most outrageous I've ever been on a Star Wars show.
And when you hear what Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau wanted to do with that season, it was tied in with the Skeleton Crew. But they didn't do it because why?
Could it be Kathleen?
Kathleen fucking Kennedy.
Kathleen Kennedy
didn't want to do that. They should cut the amount of episodes they do and cut the budget big time. You know why? Because Kathleen Kennedy's a piece of shit. And I've watched several different reports and read several different things. And that's what happened. Dave Filoni even references it in an interview.
Kathleen Kennedy bitch.
Because hopefully she's going. Hopefully she's going away.
I'm just do it.
And that's why I haven't.
10-minute rip.
She's the reason I haven't been watching Disney Star Wars. And the only reason I watch Andor is because she says she's leaving by the end of the year. She'll still be an executive producer on multiple things coming up. But as you saw, Tony Gilroy, he basically did not get. She didn't have any creative control over Andor. That's why he was allowed to do it, and that's why it was allowed to be much better. Although there was rumors that he had a lot of other stuff planned, but there was not that.
She did cut his budget.
That the budget was cut for it, where he couldn't include some stuff that he really wanted to do, which makes sense because you look at all the wasted space. There's so much dialogue between Mira and then dinner day. I mean, that was the way she put the mom in the place. I liked that, but most episodes with them and all the time they spent on them. Yeah. If it wasn't her and the ISB at the round table and doing that stuff, I wasn't interested in her and Cyril at all. Their whole story, I wasn't interested. I know the Corbin massacre, all that stuff. That was great, but you could have done it a different way. Yep. You could have different characters. I don't know. But I like Andor. I like the character of Cassian Andor. It's not my favorite character of all time, but I do like it. And he gave his life, The other thing I don't understand is you have all the stuff with Cyril and Mira, but yet you could have went down a path of explaining like who Cassian's sister was. Yeah. You do all that stuff and then there's no payoff and like, oh, it's a little better to leave her identity then. And then also Andor has a kid at the end. And it's like, this is the last season of it, right? Yeah. They're not doing anymore. We know that. He even said, I'm not doing it. We went up to Rogue One. That's it. So it's all closed off. So are we ever going to get a payoff on that? Oh, it's better to leave it undone and to not know what's happening. You're going to bring it back to Andor's sister series season 3. Andor's sister.
Let me tell you 2 stories. the first, Andor's sister was cut out due to the budget cuts.
No. They wanted to add some of that to story, but then he came out. Tony Gurley specifically said, he goes, I thought it'd be better to leave it to mystery and to have it out there instead of.
I'm sure that's what he's saying, but there was the first draft of this. The sister was in there. The second thing who started off with was Luthen's assistant was going to be Princess Leia. Hidden, and you would not know it was Princess Leia until the very last episode when like her dad came in, like her adopted father, the senator.
She's already in the Senate.
Not at this point. She's learning to be a rebel.
She's an envoy for the Senate. She's working for her dad.
Look, hey, this is
so there's no way to do that. That would go against canon.
And it's not like they've never done that before.
And then
it's not like they've never gone against canon.
Well, that's true.
Acolyte.
It's Disney Star Wars. I mean, geez, everything they've done is against canon. They did not do those. Luke Skywalker's a bumbling blue milk drinker on an island scared of everybody when he should have been the most powerful Jedi in the history of Jedis. Yeah. Freaking smashing people and...
Oh, I'm going to quit. So the child
I'm going to quit. I'm going to go hide. Luke Skywalker, the greatest Jedi of all time, but Kathleen Kennedy wants me to go hide on an island and drink milk from fucking weird looking animals.
Yeah, off a tit of a weird animal.
God.
So
I might go on a Kathleen Kennedy rant if we go any further with this, man.
So the child at the end was trying to be a sense of hope that even though everyone gave their life and no one survived
from death,
there was a sunrise for a new generation. And then the guy who played Andor says, well, there are rumors that his kid might be used in future Star Wars stuff. That they could always bring him in because they're making a bunch of different movies, with Ryan Gosling and some other things. Like you could throw in there, like, hey, what's your name? I'm like Andor Jr. And everyone would go, like, tied in.
I've heard there's rumors that Bix has force powers and his kid's going to be force sensitive. No, that is the rumor. No, because she was so sensitive with force using healer or whatever, and she was so positive about all the force stuff.
No, I don't think so.
And she sensed things and felt things,
but anyways, Tony had no plans with the kid other than saying, "See, there is a happy ending for somebody."
We had one little thing where somebody had some autonomy. Now we have. All right, now we're going to find out if Dave Filoni is a real Lucas Star Wars diehard or if he's a sellout to Hollywood and Lucasfilms and Disney in general. We'll find out in Mandalorian and Grogu if this guy can put on make you feel that feeling that George Lucas did in the first three and even the prequels. Everything George Lucas done, you get a little bit of feeling from it, except for those stupid like TV shows that you want Christmas special and those things. Yeah. But everything else, I mean, even the books that he sanctioned to be written, and the authors he allowed to do the books and the ideas. I mean, those books are the best thing about Star Wars. The original trilogy and the books are the best thing ever done about Star Wars. Those books are the best, and if you don't read them, you're not really into Star Wars. You're a Disney hack, is what you are if you don't know what the real stuff is. And we'll see if Dave Filoni stops picking and choosing and starts doing scripts.
We'll see. So,
because let's say you do Bane, you do Revan, you go by the books, not by your own shit. You fire Mangold and say, sorry, if you're not doing I Jedi, you're fucking out of here. You know what I'm saying? The Dawn of the Jedi, not I Jedi. I get my books mixed up. You don't want to do Dawn of the Jedi? Hit the fucking bricks, buddy. We're getting somebody who's going to take the book and adapt it into this. This is what needs done. Anyone who wants to bring, what's that female dipshit that did the Acolyte?
Lindsay? Is that Lindsay
Headland? Lena Headland? Lena Headland?
I don't know.
We'll call her Dipshit Headland. Dipshit Headland didn't want to go by any books or canon or anything like that. She had this idea, and it's not any George Lucas stuff, Kathleen. And then Kathleen goes, "Oh, were you once Harvey Weinstein's assistant? You could definitely make this series. You're so creative. Let's bring in a writer who's never watched or read anything about Star Wars. Oh, this is perfect. No George Lucas involved, but there'll be lots of lightsabers, and there'll be no no timeline issues or anything with the show. There'll be a little weasel in it we can sell. The stupidest crap ever.
Do you feel better? 'Cause you've been holding that a long time.
No, I mean, I've said it all before. It's just, it's if you believe that Dave Filoni, I mean, I give him a 10% chance out of 100, 90% chance Mandalorian Grogu is going to be average at best. We're talking 2.5 kettlebells at best. It needs a 5.
Yeah.
It needs a 5 out of 5 on the kettlebell issue
To get you back.
But so far, Dave Filoni shit the bed pretty much. Rebels was awesome. I loved Rebels.
Yeah.
That was a Dave Filoni thing. Clone Wars, he's heavily involved in that. Ahsoka bastardized the Tron, basically the whole Thrawn character. He bastardized it. They pick and choose from the book.
Yeah.
A little bit here, a little bit there.
With
They fucked the whole thing up. You can't have any of that trilogy, really. You're taking little pieces of that trilogy and trying to make it work in this new timeline.
Yeah.
You scrap that sequel trilogy and you start out with the proper timeline.
Well, they can't do that. So
They
he's
could.
trying to do
Multi-universe. Oh, this was the other Star Wars universe. Sorry,
No.
everybody. We're going to do
Kathleen
what
Kennedy.
Marvel did.
Nope, Kathleen Kennedy
She needs
said no to that.
She needs
So-
to find
Ahsoka 2
an 8-foot deep plot with a
is
pine
going to
box.
be Akbar versus Thrawn. You still not watching?
No, not
Okay.
if Mandalorian Grogu sucks. I will not watch it. So, because it's just going to be Dave Filoni has to hit a home run with Mandalorian Grogu. It has to be. I'm going to go to the movie theater.
It's just.
We'll go together into the movie theater
I'm gonna see you
Thursday
white
night.
knuckling.
Thursday night.
White
I'm going to be.
knuckling this
I'm going
thing.
to order some liquor. You're driving, Brad,
I'll drive.
and I'm going to need I'm going to need a little bit of whiskey to get through
Well,
this,
you're going to take a couple roadies.
and then I'll just be happy if it's good.
Yeah.
If it's good, you're
We
gonna
might
hear me
have-
come in here and say, "All right, because I used to love Dave Filoni because he was talked so much about the books.
Is Filoni
And all-
doing it or Favreau?
No, it's Filoni. This is
He's doing the movie?
Favreau's involved, like as a
Okay.
producer, I think, but he's
I
not
thought-
directed. Dave Filoni, this is his baby.
Okay, I didn't know. I thought it was John.
This is
doing
his
movie.
baby. This is Dave
Okay.
Filoni. This is his story. He wrote it. He's doing. From everything I've read, this is Dave
Okay.
Filoni's baby.
Yeah.
As the chief creative officer of Disney, the new George Lucas, right?
Yeah.
This is his baby. If it shits the bed,
See, right now,
I won't watch another Star Wars series ever unless somebody else takes over and starts doing it right. You know what I mean?
Yes.
This will be the Roseville Strength and Conditioning podcast with Casey Wilson and his client Brad. It won't be the Do or Do Not podcast anymore.
This is this is how serious I am, Filoni. I've been Filoni for a long time.
Yes.
I'm gonna switch it down to gently fondle Filoni until otherwise stated.
Oh well, you're
All right.
taking a stand, man.
That is my stand.
You're taking
I
a
went
stand.
From
I want to believe.
Fellatio, Filoni.
I've heard interviews with Filoni.
Yeah.
I want to believe now that he's in charge of creative, that Kathleen Kennedy has no control over him per se, except for purse strings, and she's going to hopefully be gone soon. She's lost her power. Hopefully, we don't know what's really happening behind the scenes. We just interpret by what this person says and that person, and some insider inside the studio said this is happening, and they're saying, oh, that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be gone in August. Oh, by the end of December, but she still has 3 more projects where she'll be a second producer. All this different stuff. Until she's gone, I don't trust anything, and I'm giving Filoni because I know that he knows George Lucas, Star Wars. I've heard him talk, and he's made me believe, but he has to make me believe that Mandalorian season 1 and 2 was what he was really trying to do.
Yeah.
And not all the other garbage that's come ever since. So we'll see. You hit a home run, Dave. I'll be back on the filet. I never was on the filet Filoni.
No.
Hand job Filoni, maybe. Like
rim job, possibly.
no glory hole. He doesn't know it's me. I'm just sitting there going, oh God.
Thank you for 5 kettlebells.
Yeah, I'll be
Well,
like,
look,
thank you very much.
If
No,
it's-
I
if it matches Andor, I'll be happy.
won't be.
I will.
Andor's 3.5 kettlebells.
See,
I need a
it's-
4. I need a 4
it's a 4 to
kettlebell.
me.
I'm gonna sacrifice my morals a little bit. I'm gonna go a 4 kettlebell.
That's a pretty big drop for you.
That's a whole
respectable.
kettlebell drop. I
Yeah.
was saying a home run, you got to hit 5. No. A
It's
grand slam's 5.
Yeah,
A home
yeah.
run is 4.
Yeah.
All right. So you hit 4 kettlebells on my. I'll be there opening day.
We will.
Mandalorian and Grogu.
And
I'm
if
going to
it's
go with
good,
this guy.
we'll be in this room podcasting that night.
That night.
with them
We'll come
drunk.
in. Late night. That's a late night right there.
We will do
I
it.
might be mildly drunk.
It'd be like,
And if
"It
you
was
think
so
the
good."
F-bombs fly when I'm sober,
Oh my
wait till
God.
I have a few drinks in me.
If it's either going to be crying because he's so happy because it's good, or he's going to be just straight off the hook pissed.
I'll be sitting
and
here
we're
with
just
this
going
big
to go,
shit-eating grin going, it's back, baby.
Yep.
It's back. Star Wars is back. Fuck Kathleen Kennedy. Dave Filoni is my new...
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be doing that. I think I'll
Or
be
you'll
going...
just be here
Here's
like,
what I'm going to be. I'm going to be like...
cussing.
I'll be like
It's over.
2.5,
I lost my son.
3 kettlebells.
A family member died.
I don't even think I can...
Thunderbolts were better.
I don't even know if I can force myself to watch Ahsoka, even though I was really interested in the first season, the story, the acting, and the characters. Maybe there was a little bit of...
I like the Ahsoka.
I liked Ahsoka. It was a lot of people don't like it. I liked
yeah.
Ahsoka, but I didn't like it.
Do you like
It was not a 4 kettlebeller.
No. That was my 3.5.
That was my 3.
Now,
I gave 3 to Ahsoka.
what they're working on.
But I was excited. I watched it each week the night it came out.
Yeah. So here's the only thing I know. Are you excited that the movie ties into the show? And they're tying in,
I like
and they're starting in into
timelines being congruent and stuff, and the shows matching up.
Ahsoka will be in a Grogu movie, and Mandalorian might be.
they've already crossed paths.
Yeah,
In that Mandalorian, was it season 3 when he went to try to get Luke to Luke's building his academy, and Ahsoka was there? No, I think so. I think that so far, if you take Mandalorian season 3 out, which I did not think was good,
yeah,
and Ahsoka was average at best.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and my favorite looking dude, so that's a little above it.
So I was very excited about Ahsoka because it was season 5 of Rebels.
Yeah.
But there were some really good parts. I really loved some parts. The lightsaber battles, the force use on it, except for when
Hera's butt.
I don't so all right. I may have to raise it up. Okay, it's a little above average because of Hera's butt.
I gave it a whole
Ewan McGregor's wife's ass made it go
half a kettlebell right up there.
Right up there. 3.5 kettlebells now.
Right.
I forgot about that.
More Hera butt shots.
Here's I think that in Ahsoka, they should have never had Sabine having force ability. Enough force ability to maybe become a Jedi.
Yeah.
That was a bad decision. And then she digs down deep. She's not very good at force stuff, but now she throws Ezra all the way across. That was stupid. And I just it lost credibility right there. I don't like that part, but there was a lot of good stuff. I liked.
So they have Ezra coming back. You don't know if he's good or bad.
Yeah, because everybody thinks he's good. Like when I hear people talk about Ahsoka and stuff, nobody really says I think he's turned to the dark side.
Yep.
But I did. Right after that, I go, that Ezra has some shady shit going on behind his eyes and head. Whether he's just a bad actor and portrayed that and wasn't supposed to.
Who knows what happened on that planet?
I'm suspicious.
Thrawn in a zombie army.
Think about what a tactician's Thrawn is.
Yeah, with this army that can give it back.
But he goes and he forms an alliance with Ezra. I said, when we get out of here, we're gonna have you be deep inside. So then, we worry about this Luke Skywalker guy. You're gonna get close to him, and then you're gonna take him out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's all this stuff they could do with it.
And then how do you feel like they're bringing in the brother and sister, or like the gods? The 2 statues pointing.
I think there's going to be a lot of the Mortis God stuff in there because that's what a lot of the show will have to be if they're really going to develop that story where you understand it. Like somebody like you has never watched the Clone Wars episodes.
Yeah.
If you go back, did you ever go back and watch those?
We started to, but we've never fully.
You're going to have to explain to an audience of retarded Disney Star Wars fans who never watched the Clone Wars or never read the books. But the Mortis Gods episodes in the Clone Wars, go back and watch them if you're one of those Disney Star Wars people that you started watching 5-10 years ago at the most, and all you've ever seen is Kathleen Kennedy rubbish. The Clone Wars was the last real thing done by Lucasfilms under George Lucas, because Rebels was done underneath Disney Star Wars, and I think maybe Kathleen Kennedy was in a hyperbaric chamber for a year when they made that, because I actually really liked what Dave Filoni did with that.
She was too busy pissing all over at Luke Skywalker to really work.
Yeah, she was planning on the demise. She was well, first. He's gonna run to an island, and guess what he's gonna do then? He's gonna drink blue milk from a weird looking animal's tits. You know, like he's gonna. We're gonna totally destroy Luke Skywalker. Fuck George Lucas. She was so busy planning George Lucas being ripped out of Star Wars and doing her own thing and making her own.
Filoni had free reign.
Own Lucasfilms. Filoni was able to make, Rebels, and I loved Rebels. I thought Rebels was the best animated series I ever watched, and I liked Clone Wars, and it was all right. But Rebels, just a great story and great characters, and they did not carry it over to the same level in Ahsoka season 1.
What happens if they bring back the Bad Batch in Ahsoka?
I like Bad Batch, but it wasn't. I just don't think. I think they did a good job ending Bad Batch, and now you have Omega out there.
Yeah.
You could bring her in.
Maybe I'm saying like they should do the old Avengeroonies where they just bring everybody.
They could bring a real life Omega into it. Yeah, they could do that.
Like just to save everybody. Like we're gonna have Luke in here again.
Luke's there. He's already there. So
we're gonna bring back.
You have if you want.
Boba Fett, we're bringing Jango Fett, we're bringing Grogu, we're bringing Ahsoka.
So the rumor is that at some point, because a contract rumor that Mara Jade is going to be in either Mandalorian and Grogu be introduced, or in Ahsoka season 2, she's going to be introduced.
Yeah,
not necessarily as Luke Skywalker's wife, but she was never Luke Skywalker's wife until much later in the book series. So she was trying to kill Luke Skywalker, so you could go that route.
Yeah.
Include her in. But Karen Gillian is reportedly signed a contract.
She is the perfect
Disney.
Although she would be like 1.5 feet taller than Luke.
That she will be.
Well, she's still perfect.
It depends. Are they going to recast Luke or try to do CGI Luke?
No, they're going to recast Luke, but
they got to
CGI his face.
You know what you do is you recast Luke, and then you retcon the trilogy series, and you're good.
I said that from the beginning. I would recast Luke, Solo,
Leia, Han, recast them all,
and start the next.
Actually,
movie.
You know what I wouldn't do? I wouldn't even do that. I'd go straight to the Old Republic right now. So we're all used to Luke Skywalker, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Guess what? The Old Republic has some of the best stories. In characters, even characters that have never really been developed.
Yeah.
Like bad guy, Darth Malgus is a great character. I have his action figure in there in the box, the black suit.
And
Revan all the way and up. Darth Bane, if you want to go back even further, and the Sith Empire fighting the Republic, with the Jedi, basically the Jedi Sith Wars. There's so much stuff. Shatil Shan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that Disney could do if they had the cojones to do it. The problem is they're not George Lucas. They're not outlaw renegades starting his own studio and putting his whole life into it. Basically betting everything on Star Wars.
Print the money. Print the money.
They are hacks in Hollywood. That's my problem. Is I know Dave Filoni has a lot of this same feeling and knowledge that you and I have. Well, at least that I have.
More than me, yeah.
Way more than you, and probably more than me, because if I was working it for Disney, I'd be reading those books 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah.
And trying to go, who's going to be the best screenwriter? Oh, Timothy Zahn should write the screenplay to his fucking books.
Timothy Zahn be like, yeah, I already wrote the screenplay.
Here
it is.
Here you go.
Oh, by the way, so
you know what a creator Timothy Zahn is?
Yeah, still 50 million copies.
I've read so many Star Wars books by his. Now I'm reading the Icarus. I'm on the first book of this Icarus thing. Icarus Hunt. See, I have 12 hours and 4 minutes left. I've listened to like 6 hours or 4 hours or something. I don't know.
Respectable.
I've listened quite a bit. It's a pretty long. It's a pretty long book because I've listened to quite a bit of the last 2 weekends when I'm working. Good. It's good. Icarus Hunt. There's like a bunch of books. It's Icarus this, Icarus that.
Just say Timothy. Help us take your.
Can you bring those screenplays in from the your trilogy series?
Yeah.
Oh, well, look at this. Oh, we want to do a trilogy on Grand Admiral Thrawn. Oh, every Star Wars fan would wet themselves if they read the Thrawn series.
Yeah,
and
so good.
They were going to make movies about it. I'd walk in here and I'd be like, I'm gonna take one for the team, Dave. You know,
Yeah.
so I don't understand why they're not doing. There's so much they could do, but it's like they're stuck in mud, and they have it's Hollywood. It's Hollywood bullshit. You know, where they don't renegades, they're not outlaws, they're not out there to make a name for themselves and do something. They're so afraid of losing their paycheck or having a film completely tanking, getting fired, that they can't get out of their own way.
Yeah.
We got to do a little bit of this, and we have to be able to market this. Let's put the little weasel in. Let's put little baby Grogu in.
We got to sell toys.
We got to sell toys. We got to do more. All right, do some of that, but do it in the form of a script.
Yeah.
And guess what? A lot of people when we were kids, did we have Luke Skywalker action figures? Did we have Darth Vader action figures?
Many.
Chewbacca action figures?
Do we
Princess
still get
Leia?
it?
Do we still buy stuff that is Disney related? I haven't bought any ever since I've decided not to watch Disney Star Wars until Andor. I have not bought one Star Wars thing. This hack right here went to Disneyland and bought 2 expensive lightsabers from Disney.
I bought 4.
Jesus.
About 4.
Supporting Kathleen Kennedy. I won't support her at all. And I know she was executive producer on this, but I also know she had no creative role in Andor at all. And she's hopefully leaving soon. I don't believe it, but that's the rumor.
Then that will be our 5-hour podcast when she's officially out the door.
That's years away because she has executive producer credits and she'll be involved as executive producer on multiple
we have to live that
projects.
long so we can have our 5-hour.
I'll live that long, but I don't want her to live that long. So if she died of a heart attack, we'd do a podcast and I'd have like a cake in here.
Oh,
we'd be putting streamers on.
That would be
the witch is dead. The wicked witch is dead.
The easiest group workout.
I'm joking. I don't wish anyone death. But if I were to wish somebody death that I don't personally know.
Today's workout, kids,
Kathleen
we're just going to
Kennedy.
sit down and just relax. We're just checking with the feelings.
Yeah.
You know why? Because the witch is dead.
No, we're going to do today. Our workout is lightsaber battle.
Yes.
I'm going to teach you the different katas for lightsaber battle.
Yep.
We're going to go to 7 forms of.
Just be glad I didn't win the contest to choose the workout because I would have chosen. Yeah, let's work on the.
Bring your lightsabers
forms
to the workout.
Yep. Everyone, bring a stick or a lightsaber. Well, let's wrap this up. We've been here way too long.
Yeah, especially for a show that was a 3.5 kettlebell show.
Yeah,
He got me going on Kathleen.
That's what I do. But again,
then, like the future of Star Wars and all that stuff.
Andor's good.
Andor.
It was.
Dude, you went to college, right?
With Luther.
You went to college?
With Luther.
You went to college?
Actually,
you had to do like literature and you had to do all that stuff. You can't enunciate words properly.
You want to hear what's sad?
Good Lord.
You want to hear what's
names
sad?
Are one thing, but like I think you've had like 4 or 5 words you just mispronounced.
Oh, totally. Not only did I.
Did you drink before you come in? Because you're slurring words.
Did you not see my solo podcast?
Yeah, I did.
Not only did I go to college, I got a master's.
Unbelievable. I did.
I
have 94 college units, but I don't have a degree. Well, I have.
This is what you
AA,
get.
but I don't have a 4-year degree. But you know what's amazing is the amount that I've read and how my memory, my mind works.
Yeah,
I can pull vocabulary words out of my ass.
I can't.
And use them in the proper way 99% of the time.
Not me. Everything is just a blur. I don't sleep well.
You know,
I cry a lot.
Just to end the episode on this, you know who some of the smartest people are? I don't care if you have a degree by your name. Great. Yeah. I'm happy. The people that read books all the time. Holy crap. Because I read
books.
I read books all the time. I read about all kinds. Yes, I read fictional books, but I also read all kinds of historical books. I read books about health, fitness. I read books about what's going on in the world today. I read autobiographies. You learn so much about the world from books, even fictional books, because a lot of them are based on reality. And then you can relate them, like our current political situation. You can relate to the Empire and the New Republic. You know?
I completely learned from TikTok. So I don't know what you're talking about.
But anyway, that's my last thought. But Andor,
the moon is flat.
Thumbs up, but barely. It's like right there. It's like thumbs up, but it's like not thumbs up.
It'll make you never want to lead a rebellion.
Meaning, if you watch the whole series, but if you skip the first 6 episodes, you probably wouldn't miss that much. Oh yeah, Andor has a baby. and Bix is hot, and she should be the next Wonder Woman. And Mira's a piece of trash. Cyril's a piece of trash. They should have never been included so heavily in the show.
Wrong.
Luthen is the best. Mon Mothma and Bellamy and all the
Right.
other senators are hacks. But I end up being a Mon Mothma fan in the future because she does sacrifice everything. And Bella Ringa Solo, he was great too. So,
And
not Solo, Bella Ringa. His daughter eventually was a Solo.
yeah, and who's the guy who replaced Leah's dad? What's his name? I actually like him better as an actor. Benjamin Bratt.
Benjamin Bratt, yeah.
Yeah, I actually liked him a little bit more than the other guy he replaced. I don't know.
He
He
was-
was more of a gravitas. He's a little bit
he
more
was-
growly.
He was
little bit
more authoritative.
Yeah.
Than, Jimmy Smits was more of a negotiating senator.
Yeah,
And Benjamin Bratt was more of a I don't trust you, fuck you, do it my way,
yeah.
kiss my ass. He had a little bit
That
more
was
of that.
the only thing that like startled me going from Andor right into Rogue One. Once you see Jimmy Smits again, I'm like, whoa, you don't give me a salt and peppered, cool looking Benjamin
Bratt's
Bratt.
a pretty handsome man compared to Jimmy Smits.
You're right. And then you go whack right into Jimmy Smits.
But I liked it. That was a good casting.
Yeah,
I think they got really good casting on this
they
show.
did. They did.
You know, so there's some stuff about Rogue One, watching it right after, but in general, it's a great transition. I'm not
It
a
is.
huge Jen Erso fan.
No, I wish they would have focused more on Andor since we just watched.
Yeah, I
it.
wasn't a Jen Erso fan in that whole story part of it, but it was a good movie anyway, so I liked it. It was.
But that's
it
a whole
was-
other podcast.
You know what? It's one of the few things that was real. Like you feel like Star Wars. Like
Yeah,
I am the Force is me with me. You know,
that's he's
those
you.
characters are so awesome.
Yep.
And they give their life for the rebellion and for what's right and to fight against what's wrong. And that's one of the beauties of Star Wars is. And you have the Force, which can be good or bad.
Yep. And the Vader scene at the end ties it all in, man.
And the Vader scene's great at the end too.
Oh my God.
All right, we're out.
Bye-bye.